Alright, so I wasn't going to put this in the video at all, but in some of the off-season maintenance stuff, I pulled the valve cover off. I had a little oil leak down in the corner, but I thought you guys would want to see this thing. It's just crazy how, I mean, it doesn't have that many miles on it, so I guess it should still look new, as it does. It's been well maintained, obviously. But it still just baffles me, the abuse we've put this stock Coyote through, and every time I pull it apart, I guess I'm always just expecting to find, you know, either material somewhere or who knows, you know, part of a piston. Obviously it runs great, but I'm just always expecting it to break, and it just keeps surprising me. I thought you guys would want to just kind of get an idea how clean this thing is in there, because it's still like new. Alright, now that I got the 80 mil off of here, I wanted to set these next to each other to show you guys the actual visual size difference of these things. Obviously the compressor wheel itself is significantly different, but also the cover is significantly different. You can just see, if you look at just like how tall that one is over this one, right? Just sheer in height. It's going to be a little difficult to fit in the car. I've got a little limited on space, to the point to where you can see where the top of the core support, bottom of the top of the core support was rubbing this. So I've actually already cut some of that out. The camera, my GoPro, died in my other battery. It was at work, so unfortunately I didn't get video of that. But the other thing I want you to notice the difference of is this flange point. So if you were to like measure, you know, from the center of the wheel to the flange, right, on that one, and then again on this one, it's obviously quite a bit taller. I'm gonna have to remake this charge pipe. This is the 80 mil one, obviously. You guys have all seen that. That's on the car. So I'm going to get, I'm going to remake that with the new one for the 94. I was going to cut that one up and use it, but I'm going to just keep that with the 80 mil for now. And just, if, you know, if something happens and like the 94 would unfortunately like maybe eat something or whatever, I'd have to replace it. I would have stuff to quickly throw the 80 mil back on if need be. But yeah, so obviously big empty hole in there. Show you guys. So this little poorly cut out triangle piece there was actually just like a little bead roll in here to add some strength. I had to cut that out. The compressor fits in here now. It's very, very tight. Obviously I've already repainted it and whatnot, but yeah, so let's get that thing in there. I've got to get the charger on it. I've got to pull the oil drain line off and clean it, because like a dummy, I left it sitting right down there while I was cutting all that stuff out. So I gotta pull that line off, clean that all up, put that line back on, but I'm gonna get the turbocharger on it first, and then we'll do that. So yeah, let's put it on. Man, if I didn't have to remake the header, I would definitely move this to a V-band. This T6000, this thing's a tank. I should weigh it, but my scales are at work, unfortunately. The other difference, oops, my mic's bouncing off the car, sorry. The other difference that I didn't talk about just a second ago is that the length of the front of the compressor cover, there was a lip on the 80 mil that I cut off there. It does fit, look at that. And that made it a little bit longer up here, so now it's super close to the, I'm like afraid to let it go because it might fall any second. It's super close to the radiator currently, but it does still clear, so that is all that matters. But yeah, I'm gonna just reuse this old gasket. The turbo flange gasket, guys, you could probably, like, honestly, I could probably not even, I've not ran one in a pinch before and never had a problem, but it just doesn't feel, I don't know, for some reason it doesn't feel okay to do that. Even if I'm using an old one that is just a piece of junk at this point, but whatever. Alright, one bolt in there. So how that bracket, I'm sorry, not bracket, the support here works. Get this other bolt in there. Come on. There we go. I've got to put, you can see that this has got 2 bolt holes in it. this one is this one, that one's that one. So I gotta pull that bolt back out. I'm just using it to hold it in place. And then I can put the, let's get this other nut on there. Alright, it's in there. It fits. But man, it barely fits. I'm gonna get this bolted on here the rest of the way. I'll get this support on here. I don't know if we ever really talked about that. This thing's pretty cool. It's got a spherical bearing in here, like a kind of like a Heinz end. See how much I can move it. So the idea was, basically, I wanted it to just support the weight of the turbocharger, again because it's insanely heavy. Just support the weight of that and allow the header and everything else to kind of move around with heat and vibration to try to just prevent cracks in the header, right? So yeah, all right, I'm gonna get the rest of the bolts in here, get that on there, get the oil feed hooked up, and then once I get everything bolted on here and I'm sure it fits, I'll show you guys just how close this thing really is. I actually think it is still just barely touching the core support. No, it doesn't look like it is. That's actually okay. So anyway, I'm gonna do that stuff, and yeah, be right back. All right, so this thing's in there. Put the blanket on it quick. I didn't get video of that. Putting that thing on there is not too hard. It's pretty easy, but I put it on there after this time. The first time I put the charger on, I put it on before, and it got in the way of putting all the bolts in there. But yeah, so check out how close this compressor cover is. When I say close, it's not just close, it's against it. But that's with a little tension on it. I'm really not that worried about that. I had thought about like cutting this back out here and there and making something for support there. I could just cut it out and leave it out. I'm not 100% okay with that at this point. But if it does come to where that becomes a problem, I'm just going to cut it on both sides and we're going to run it. For now, it touching that doesn't really concern me. But look at how close the charger is down in there. Like here, to get you a shot of it so you can see it. Here to the radiator, the compressor cover to the radiator. I mean, it's tight. But it looks right at home in there, as you'd expect. Kind of cool. But I'm going to pull the oil drain off. I got the oil feed on it already. I'm going to pull the oil drain off, clean it up. I haven't had that off in a little while, so hopefully I'm hoping I can get to the oil drain without pulling the containment tray off, but we'll see. Alright. Make that bad boy out of there. Yeah, check this out. Oh, you know what? I bet. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on with this. You can see where it's. Oh, sorry, I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, you can see where where it's gone there. I don't really know what's up with it. It looks like it may have got. No, this is a water drip from the exhaust. But I don't know. I wonder if I hurt that at some point and just never noticed. Up here, obviously, that's rubbing on the heat shield is rubbing on the cert belt at one point. But anyway, I'm gonna clean this and see if I have more of that sleeve laying around here so I can replace it. Yeah, but I'm gonna get some more of this. For now, though, I'm just gonna clean this thing out. I'm gonna basically run some brake clean through it in this direction, which would be upwards towards the turbocharger, so I don't flush all the metal down through the thing, and then blow it out with a blowgun quick. All right, so got the oil drain on it. See if we can get this exhaust to line back up. I'm a little nervous about this because if I have to remake the teardrop on this thing to go right back where it was, that's going to be quite the challenge, I feel. Not that I couldn't do it, I just definitely be a very time-consuming endeavor. No doubt. So on the old charger, I had it marked on the turbine housing how to line these things up. So I'm at a little trial and error here, getting this thing where it needs to be. Make sure the clamps on there. Somewhere in that vicinity there. Oh, yeah. That was a cute sound. Oh, set my wrench down. So hopefully, I know these turbine housings are the same, but you know how that goes. They're supposed to be the same. I guess we'll see. I think they'll need to be tight. tight. I just need to be able to move it around. All right, cool. Move the camera a second. Let's see what you guys think. You think it's gonna fit? Well, let's hope so. Haha, check it out. It's not 100% where it was before. It's back a little bit further, but man, it is close enough here. I'll show you guys. I'm saying checking out, and I got a camera. I can just pull it over here. Check it out. Like I said, it's a little forward, or a little back from where it was before. It used to be more of a gap in a couple places here. But yeah, that's cool. That'll work. I'm gonna tighten that thing up real fast, actually. See if it moves a little bit as I'm doing that. It shouldn't move much at all. I would honestly bet that part of the reason that it's different is because I have less, I think the turbine housing is lower, just due to the compressor cover running into the course part. Sensor back in. I will have a small vacuum leak if I fire it up like this. Grabbing the old ball off of a second here. Literally just to plug the hole to it. Nothing serious. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna throw, I think the battery's dead, so I'm gonna throw this thing on the charger and we'll see if we can fire it up and check for oil leaks. 94 there. Interesting side note, the charger spins with more shaft RPM at idle cold than the 80 mil did, which is kind of interesting, but I've seen a couple other people say the same thing. I think that turbine wheel is just that much more efficient. But she's getting a little heat into her. There's no oil leaks so far. Alright, so the turbo setup, this thing's warm, everything looks good, no oil leaks, that kind of thing. Got it up to 180 degrees, let it run for a minute just to try to burn some of the moisture out of the oil, right? Just because the temperature fluctuations are bad for that, right? But she is ready to go now, except for we still don't have a charge pipe. But like I said, I don't have all the material to do that yet. The next thing on my list that's somewhat of a priority is to delete the ABS. So this module is right here. It comes, the front brakes go through the line lock, and then out of the bottom of the line lock it comes to here. The rear brakes just align right from the master to here. I've kind of got a plan on how I want to do this. I'm basically going to run a different, like an MPT to -3 out of the bottom of the line lock. I'm going to tee that into lines that are going to run right to the calipers on the other side. The calipers with these bare brakes are already a -3 fitting at the caliper. So I'm hoping that that's going to work out. And then the rear one, I got a fitting that I haven't made sure is the right one, but basically on the back of the brake master here for the rear brakes, I'm going to take that out and I'm going to run a same thing, -3 line down to underneath the car and put a T down there for the rear lines, and I'll just blend into the factory line or T into the factory lines back there for the back. So that's my plan. I'm going to get started. I'm going to knock the wheels off of this thing and start pulling stuff out. Always put your nuts back.